Shelby stands in front of the bathroom mirror, carefully applying her makeup, while in the next room, her boyfriend, Cyrus, is masturbating to an Instagram video of a blonde influencer. Just as he gets lost in the moment, Shelby walks in, catching him red-handed. Awkwardness fills the air. Cyrus is mortified, and Shelby, eager for some intimacy, feels a wave of frustration. What starts as an uncomfortable moment quickly escalates into a full-blown argument. Shelby, feeling rejected and humiliated, considers canceling their plans to attend their friend Ruben's wedding, but Cyrus, desperate to smooth things over, convinces her otherwise. Reluctantly, they head out. As they drive, Shelby mindlessly scrolls through Instagram, the tension from the fight still lingering. And her mood sours even more when she notices Cyrus regularly replying to their friend Nikki's posts, the same girl she suspects he has feelings for. Jealous of Nikki's social media popularity, Shelby's resentment festers as she compares her own posts, which receive far less attention. Arriving at Ruben's house, the reunion begins. Their group of college friends, Dennis, Nikki, Brooke, Maya, and Ruben, gathers in what feels like a nostalgic trip down memory lane. But as they settle in, the conversation drifts to Forbes, an old friend who hasn't been seen in years after a wild party scandal tore their group apart. At that fateful event, Dennis had been dating Nikki, but Forbes' younger sister, Beatrice, was infatuated with Dennis. When she saw him with Nikki at the party, she snapped, and a violent altercation ensued. The night ended with Dennis in handcuffs, Forbes being expelled from college, and Beatrice committed to a mental institution. Forbes vanished, seemingly cutting all ties with the group. Later that evening, the group gathers for dinner, their laughter echoing through the house. Forbes makes a dramatic entrance, knocking on the window with a suitcase in hand, instantly lifting the group's spirits. After greeting everyone, he and Cyrus retreat to a quieter spot, where Forbes inquires about his relationship with Shelby. Cyrus hesitates, revealing that they are experiencing troubles and that he isn't ready for commitment. He also mentions that he and Shelby are trying to experience new opportunities to get their spark back. Forbes gets called away, and he joins the group with Cyrus. As the group lounges outside, Forbes suggests they play a game, setting the sleek briefcase on the table. Before explaining the game, he suggests they all experience it firsthand. He tells everyone that it is top secret and that phones are not allowed. He pops the case open, revealing a bizarre machine filled with wires and ominous buttons. Intrigued, the group leans closer. Their curiosity piques. Forbes methodically attaches electrodes to each person, a thrill of anticipation buzzing in the air. With a flick of a switch, the machine hums to life. In an instant, chaos erupts as the others writhe in confusion, a cacophony of startled shouts filling the night. Forbes watches, a wicked smile on his face, until he shuts off the machine. Forbes tells everyone that he and his team are working on this device, and it allows them to transfer their consciousness into one another. He explains how he and his team use this machine to play games, and now, at the wedding, he's eager to bring back the excitement of their college days. The atmosphere crackles with anticipation. As he proposes a high-stakes game, everyone will switch bodies and guess each other's identities. Shelby, who is reluctant, asks whether it is dangerous. Forbes says it isn't, and just then, he pretends to yell in agony, sending the group into a frenzy, only to reveal it's a joke. Shelby is still reluctant, but Cyrus manages to convince her to play the game. Before the game starts, Forbes takes Polaroid pictures of everyone and explains the rules. He tells everyone that no one can cheat because he will know at all times who is who, as he is the one who programs the machine. The game starts, and Cyrus moves into Ruben's body. Brooke stands up, freaking out, making the others realize that Shelby is in Brooke's body. Cyrus, in Ruben's body, says that he can figure out who Ruben is. He gets up and starts to pull his pants down when Ruben, in Cyrus's body, gets up, angry, and calls him out. The environment gets tense, but Ruben starts to laugh, saying he was just messing with him. Forbes guesses that Nikki is actually Maya, and Dennis calls Shelby by the nickname Shelbo that only Cyrus uses, making the others guess it is Cyrus, and Dennis admits it, leaving Cyrus surprised. Cyrus confronts Dennis alone and realizes that Dennis is actually Forbes. Forbes manages to convince Cyrus to continue the game, reminding him of their earlier conversation where Cyrus mentioned wanting to experience new opportunities. Cyrus, pretending to be Forbes, meets Maya in Nikki's body. Maya is vexed that Ruben is getting married, as they used to be a thing, and they share a kid. They stop when they hear someone coming, and it's Maya's body. Maya is perplexed, seeing her body from the outside, as she sees that as going against Buddha's teachings, and she walks away. Cyrus walks in on Shelby dancing with someone in Cyrus's body, and they both start making fun of Cyrus and his habit of watching porn and jerking off, which angers Cyrus. Forbes instructs Cyrus on how to set up the machine, and they all return to their bodies. Everyone is intrigued by the machine and the unique experience they just had, including Shelby, who says that she had fun. Dennis apologizes to Forbes for what happened in the past. Everyone is excited for another round of the game, but Cyrus is reluctant and tells everyone that he is sitting out, which annoys Dennis. And they both get into a verbal argument. Shelby takes Cyrus aside to calm him down, where he confides in her that Forbes made him play each other's roles in the previous round. Shelby convinces him that it's just a game and he should play since she is having fun, and he agrees, suggesting a signal so they can recognize each other. The second round starts, and Cyrus transfers into Forbes's body. He looks around the table, giving the signal, but no one seems to respond. Shelby transfers into Nikki's body, and she posts a picture on Instagram, which immediately gets her thousands of likes and comments. Dennis invites Maya to check out the roof, and she follows. Cyrus, in Forbes's body, is looking for Shelby when he hears Nikki freaking out after seeing a spider. He realizes that Shelby is inside Nikki's body. Cyrus calls her out to the greenhouse and confronts her. Then Shelby starts to kiss him and asks him to call her Nikki. She also starts to call him Forbes, which freaks him out, and he backs away. They both start to argue. Meanwhile, Maya and Dennis realize that they are actually Ruben and Brooke and start to kiss and have sex. But the game takes a dark turn when, in a horrifying accident, Ruben and Brooke, in each other's bodies, fall from a balcony during sex, their bodies crashing to the ground in a brutal, bloody mess. Panic grips the group. Forbes insists they can't call the police. His invention is far too important to fall into the wrong hands. The remaining friends scramble to swap back to their original bodies. But with Ruben and Brooke now dead, Dennis and Maya's real bodies are lost forever. Amidst the chaos, Cyrus is confronted by Dennis, who is now in Cyrus's body. Dennis reveals a bitter truth. Cyrus never truly loved Shelby. She was merely his consolation prize after being rejected by Nikki. Tempers flare, and Dennis calls the police, accusing Cyrus of murder. In the frenzy, Forbes attempts to escape with his machine, but Nikki unexpectedly knocks him out. They tie up Forbes, and Cyrus tries to make amends with Shelby, but Maya realizes that Cyrus was pretending to be Forbes in the first round and tells Shelby that Cyrus had her while she was in Nikki's body. Shelby is angered by this revelation and leaves. Forbes wakes up, and Nikki tries to reason with him when Shelby comes in and threatens to ruin Nikki's career by posting a damaging video if she doesn't leave. Forbes suggests an idea to Shelby, which she quickly starts to implement. Shelby proposes to Cyrus that they can change everyone back to their original bodies, or if Cyrus wants Nikki, then she can stay in Nikki's body. And he can go into Ruben's body, while Dennis, in Cyrus's body, takes the fall for the deaths. Cyrus agrees with option B. Forbes reveals to Nikki what Shelby is planning, and Nikki allies with Dennis to incapacitate Shelby and return everyone to their original bodies. In the main hall, Shelby is busy hooking up the machine when Nikki suddenly appears and smears peanut butter on Shelby's face, triggering an allergic reaction. Nikki refuses to give her an epinephrine pen until Forbes examines the wiring and fixes it so everyone can return to their original bodies. Meanwhile, Dennis discovers that money from his trust fund has been transferred to an offshore account, and he accuses Cyrus of the theft. As Forbes changes the switches, Nikki finally gives Shelby the epinephrine pen, saving her life. Just as the police arrive, Forbes starts the machine. We see Beatrice driving with scars on her face, and when she arrives at Ruben's house, she sees that the wedding has been canceled and that the bride is crying. She sees Forbes and tackles him, asking him where her suitcase is. She realizes that it is Dennis in Forbes's body, and Beatrice confesses that she is actually Forbes. Forbes blames Dennis for all this, recalling what happened at the party 8 years ago. That night was Dennis's birthday, and he used to casually hook up with Beatrice, promising her luxury. But she was labeled crazy as she has a history of episodes, And she had another one of those when Ruben and Dennis told everyone she was acting delusional because nothing happened between her and Dennis. This resulted in her having a mental breakdown, and she ended up in a mental hospital under suicide watch. One day, Forbes visited Beatrice to show her the machine, and they switched bodies. After that, she knocked him out and attended the wedding in his place to exact revenge on Dennis, Ruben, and Nikki. Now, Cyrus and Beatrice have returned to their original bodies. Cyrus finds himself imprisoned for the deaths and for the money that was taken from Dennis's account. Shelby comes to visit him, and he desperately urges her to tell the police that he wasn't responsible. However, she refuses, confessing that option B was a real test of his feelings. She believes he deserves to rot in prison. It is revealed that Beatrice withdrew the money from Dennis's account while she was in his body. The story concludes with Beatrice, now in Nikki's body, driving away into the night with the machine, leaving behind a trail of death, deception, and shattered identities. The final lesson is clear. With friends like these, who needs enemies? And thus, the story comes to an end. Enjoyed the video? Subscribe, like, and share. Tap the bell for instant updates. You won't want to miss it.